let me ask you this. How successful have you been trying to be an independent thinker? What do you think is your, like, how objective can you be? How independent can you remain? How bipartisan or non-partisan can you remain?
So I don't think that it's about remaining non-partisan. I think it's about making my own biases clear. I make it clear that, I'm not, it's not that I don't have any views, or that I don't lean left or right. I just make it clear that most of my views probably lean left. Some of them obviously lean right. But I think that uh, about being successful, I would say that one thing that I've noticed is when I write um, an article, say a well-researched article or something like that, criticizing a particular side, say I write an article criticizing the left wing, then it gets a lot of views from the right wing, and it just boosts up, right? So when I criticize the left, the when I criticize the right, it gets a lot of views from the left wing. And I think that when I criticize both, that doesn't get a lot of reading. So I don't think that I've been that successful. So there is still a partisan thing that is going on. People respond based on their political biases. I have noticed that a lot of people do not read what I write. What they do is they just look at the writing, they just look at the what I want to express.
Who is he blaming?
Yeah, who is he blaming?
That's
yeah,
it.
Exactly. So if I blame, for instance, if the letter to Modi that I wrote, then the liberals will start crying over it, right? So I think that is still present over there. So I think it's very hard to be successful when you're trying to be nuanced.
Nuanced enough, right? I agree with that.
Yeah.
You pointed that out about my podcast as well, which was like, if you're going to continue playing this game, and a lot of people have, Abhinandan Sekhri has, and a lot of other gentlemen have, is like, if you keep playing this game where you cater to both sides, you will get none of that. And my intent is not to cater to anybody. That's not what I'm trying to do. My intent is to have a civil conversation, hear people out, right? Like I released an episode with J-Sai Deepak, who I think is a brilliant fellow. I don't know if you followed him. I think the way he thinks is quite interesting.
I've watched that episode.
Right. I think the way he thinks is quite interesting. And what I wanted to put out for an introduction, which I could not, that week was extremely busy for me, was something along the lines of this. It is unimportant to me what Anvesh thinks. As long as there is no internal contradictions in his thinking and there is no self-serving biases, in my democratic model of free speech, Anvesh is allowed to say whatever the fucking hell he wants. I don't care, right? And I'm fine. I'm going to entertain that. I'm going to play along. I'm going to ask him questions in his playing field instead of force him to come to my playing field. And the point is that the market that exists for political conversation is not for nuance, is for righteousness. Please tell me I'm right. Please tell me I'm right. Please. You, like, when I put out that conversation with J-Sai Deepak, I don't know how much he understands this, but there is a fanaticism around that man. There is a fanatical nature of people. It's like anything that JSD says is right. Anything. JSD said, namaste. Aapki health kharab hai, JSD said. YouTube comments mein. And then you begin to understand that part of the reason is because he is making a very nuanced point for a side that nobody is articulating properly. And so people don't care about what he's saying. As long as he's affirming the right-leaning narrative, the Indic narrative, we are with JSD. And it's the same with Jordan Peterson, right? You have to be an incredible amount of stupid to tell me that women in India have achieved equal whatever power, responsibility, rights, whatever. And if you're using Jordan Peterson's argument, one, you've not understood what he's saying. Two, you're distorting your reality by using his argument. Nothing else. And so the reason why Peterson became successful as well, even though he was trying to make a very nuanced point, was because there were enough people on one side of the spectrum who were feeling unrepresented, unarticulated. And they just saw who is to blame. What Peterson's saying, these guys are to blame. Okay, fuck these guys, end of story. And that is the case. You need to take sides in politics to appear, to get, monetary, whatever, viewership success or whatever that is. And it's a sad reality of where we're at now.
I absolutely agree with you. I think that the way this game goes is basically that side is evil, this side is the good, we're absolutely moral people, we're perfect, that side wants to destroy the country, or that side wants to convert the country into a Nazi fascist state. You cannot have a rational discourse with these kind of people. For instance, some days back, this Twitter professor, uh, um, uh, he's a professor of peace. He tweeted a very normal image of BJP people taking pledge, and he wrote that, look, this is not the Nazi salute, and that was not an argument. That was an ad hominem attack, but it got so much influence from these the liberal kind of people. And when I pointed it out, I was called a BJP supporter. Now I have become a Sanghi or whatever. And so these kind of terms are being thrown around, and these kind of terms are being thrown around in both the sides. So I think that what is wrong with the state of our political discourse is the fact that we look at it from a moral perspective. Like, we say that we are moral, they're immoral. It's not people, they're people who disagree with us. It's that they're immoral people, they're evil people. They need to be shut down because they're making a mess of the world. So Peterson is transphobic. Ben Shapiro is homophobe. Well, he is a homophobe. I mean, I've made that argument quite clear.
Right.
Are all of these arguments, but there's a nuanced way to make this argument. You can make a nuanced argument that Modi is an authoritarian. You don't have to say that Nazi, fascist. That is not a nuanced argument.
But
right?
It's not digestible. No, the whole point of trading off nuance is to make it efficient. The idea becomes efficient if I'm like, hey, consider yourself the best person in the world. Okay, I can believe that. But if I'm like, wait a second, only if, and then only if, and then only if I add all that nuance, the digestion becomes improper. That's why slogans work, because slogans are the most unnuanced version of a side.